What's up? It's Sharp here with the Kicked Out at 2 Dynamite review for AEW April 7th, 2021. I'm here joined with my boys Chris and Quags. How you guys doing?
Hey,
Doing well.
what's going on? Coming at you from my in-laws' house in Maryland.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah. Loving that. Is that a lock on the dresser behind you?
Don't know what's in there. Not gonna find out.
All right. So first thing we had on the evening was Inner Circle pulling up in some hot rods. Then Hangman Page was able to survive interference by Anthony Bowens to defeat Max Caster. About 12 minutes with a buckshot lariat. After the match, Hangman threw some beers to fans.
So yeah, I enjoyed this match a lot. I think I have made it clear that I'm a huge fan of the Acclaimed and Max Caster. I love when he comes in the ring, and I thought his rap was great going into it. I actually like the build of this. They kind of gave it like a pretty soft build of Max Caster beating like 3 Dark Order guys like in a row, and the announcers hyped that up a lot. So it makes sense. Okay, this guy's going to go against Adam Page now, but also it was National Beer Day, so we all knew that Adam Page can't lose on that day. But
that's the only thing. That's the only thing that
let alone that he's not only like one of the biggest like stars on the show, he can't lose on National Beer Day. It was actually funny the way how like this match started out when like he did his rap, and then his partner comes in, and I'm just in my head, I'm like, why didn't they just like attack him? And then right when I thought about that, Adam Page just starts out with like a big boot to the face with his partner, and I cracked up. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess he did do that. I liked actually kind of like the old school stuff that they were working on a limb, and I think I appreciated this a lot. I'm not sure if everyone else did, but like the end where they slid the boombox in and it was done right. But like I think that's a little tougher than anticipation, so I thought that was like pretty cool. And I like the ending of like Adam Page was pretty intense. He just like moonsaulted off the guy and then just hit the buckshot, and then it was good to go.
Yeah, man, I really love Hangman. I thought they put him over in this, even though it went a little bit long. You do have Max Caster coming in with some momentum there, and then you also have the fact that anytime Adam Page struggled in this, it felt like it was because of interference, whether that be the boombox or the chain or whatever, and he still overcame it and won pretty handedly. This had one of my favorite wrestling cliches was the apron. That's the hardest part of the ring.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Always
It
love to work
hurts.
that in there. Yeah, it seemed like they're putting Hangman over, which is great to me. Like, I want to see more of him, and I can't wait to go down to Jacksonville at some point, have 6 to 8 Page Wisers, and just watch some wrestling.
So I'll say I really like Max Caster's rap with the Biden on the stairs was hilarious. I don't like when he was about to say blow me and they pulled the mic away like, oh my God, you can't say that. That's lame. Like, don't make him like just I think it's like, oh, big deal. Like we've heard way worse. Don't do that. Just think of another clever line.
The other thing is I have this note again that they kept on swearing so much more this week, and they really made it a part of the show. So like, I mean, I guess it's part of a bleep is more effective than actually saying the curse sometimes. But yeah,
I just think it's corny to be like, oh my God, was he about to say that? Like,
yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you.
I didn't think this match was good. I thought Max Caster just looked super off, dude. He was, especially in the beginning, he was telegraphing like all his moves. He just looked out of it. He missed some move where he was trying to jump on the top rope. Christopher, that boombox sliding spot was not timed well. I know what you mean. It was tough for them to slide it, but Hangman had to like hold him there, like when is he gonna slide it? Like what's going on? Like it was like holding him back. I did not think that was timed well. And then after the match, Excalibur, announcers got to put stuff over, but he's like, it's an incredible victory for Paige. Really? It's Max Caster. It's not really that.
It's Max Caster. Dude, they're going to be good. Once they start putting the Rocket behind them, they're going to be good.
I thought he was incredibly clunky on the night. I thought he was like the worst performer on the night, personally.
No, dude, the show, we'll get into it. There's plenty. I'll give you a hot takes of plenty more.
Yeah, I wasn't picking up on a lot of the boombox thing. I definitely saw, but a lot of it,
he would
hop on the top rope
for a clothesline. He would like hold.
Dude, he wasn't holding him for that long. It wasn't that long. To the point of like just sliding the boombox in. I just appreciate that effort.
Hey,
like it just
look, Adam Page is out there drinking. It's National Beer Day. He doesn't have time to rehearse.
I like that.
Yeah.
Oh, when he was throwing the beers out, yeah.
That was fun.
All right, so after the match, then we had Tony Schiavone calling out Death Triangle for an interview, but they were immediately interrupted by the best friends, Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander. Orange Cassidy quickly cut to a video package of the Death Triangle whooping his ass a while back. Pac says he knows they want a title match, but they're far from worthy, even though they didn't have the title yet. Trent said to calm down. They're just out there to let him know the boys are back in town. We talk about it every week. This is going to be a trend. This is probably the worst version of the interrupting every single promo was interrupted on this. It's too much. They need to stop. They need to make 1 out of 10 promos get interrupted or interviews or anything. I have no idea what the point of this was. I said no, this served nothing. In any movie, script, show, everything should push things forward. This was just there. So I hated
it. I actually like this a lot. I will agree with you in a sense of like I actually wrote down and like until Quags mentioned like a couple I think like last week about like how many interruptions. I was just like, oh, I'm actually curious how like many like throughout the show. Yes, there was so many interruptions to the point of like, why even schedule this? Just say, hey, this guy's gonna be in the ring. God knows what's gonna happen next or whatever. Because everyone just interrupts everyone else. But their music, I think it pops me every time. I think like every time I hear that music by the Pixies, I'm like, I just get excited. Anytime I hear Orange Cassidy, which is a very rare thing, because of his like gimmick of not being nonchalant, thought that was good. I actually liked that they played like what was it like last year, like at Revolution or whatever, that they got attacked, and it kind of makes sense, right? That like, oh yeah, remember you guys beat the shit out of me, and then Pat gets injured and be like, oh yeah, we're gonna forget that. At least it doesn't make me feel stupid, as in like, oh okay, they're still pissed that he got beaten up by these guys. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. I'm a little I will say I'm a little confused that they just won this casino battle royale and they're going to get a tag team title shot against the Young Bucks. And then these guys come in and now I'm like, okay, but I actually like this new group a lot. I think this makes me like Best Friends way more than I did in the past. Huge fan of Orange Cassidy. And I think it's hilarious. We're like, oh yeah, we got an alien now. I'm like, okay, perfect. I think it was funny.
Yeah, it seems like they're trying to build them up to be around. To the point of you're not worthy, like we don't even have a title yet, but if we do, you're not going to get to challenge us for it. Well, actually, we've won the most matches, tag team matches or whatever it was. So yeah, I'm in the middle. I like seeing Orange Cassidy Best Friends, and I really like Chris Statlander. I'm glad that she's back, but it seemed like Death Triangle is just mowing through people, so it is a little bit weird to throw this wrench in there. Like maybe I don't know how else to do it, but they didn't need to interrupt them. Think of another way to like make them come together if you're gonna do it.
All right, so then we had Jericho promo with the Inner Circle. All right, feel free to fill in anything that I missed because this was a long one. Jericho said the Pinnacle gave the Inner Circle a wake up. He told a story about not being smart in high school chemistry, but he's very smart when it comes to pro wrestling. He said he brought MJF into Inner Circle so they could keep him under their thumb, but they didn't realize he was one step ahead of them.
Who did he bring into the Inner Circle?
MJF.
MJF? What's MJF stand for?
Maxwell Jacob Freeman.
My jerk off friend.
Oh my
Oh, yeah,
gosh.
okay.
I didn't
Come
put that
on.
together.
I didn't put that in this review at
That's
all. My jerk off friend,
hilarious.
and I thought about that after.
I
Oh
was
my gosh.
wondering-
Are you guys kidding me? That's gonna be like his name now.
I
That's
know.
it.
I couldn't like process of
I
like
did
why.
not
I'm
like
like, why is
that.
he so into my jerk off friend? I was just thinking, I was just like, now I feel
Oh,
like an
you
idiot
guys.
flags.
I was
All right.
rolling my eyes through that too. But you're right. They're gonna probably chant my jerk off friend or
And
something.
it makes me appreciate it more now.
I thought you were, when I said under my thumb, I thought you were talking about like a Rolling Stones reference to the song. All right, so Jericho written down MJF, said MJF wants to be a better Jericho now, but he's not ready. Mocked MJF for stealing a scarf gimmick, called him a mark. Then he kind of made fun of him for running backstage, checking what the dirt sheets and what the internet was saying. Then he ran down every Pinnacle member one by one. This is for each. Challenged Pinnacle to the first ever blood and guts match. Then it kind of got difficult to hear what he was saying because he was cussing so much, and the censoring was very weird. It wasn't normal bleeping or cutting out.
So weird.
They got to get a handle on that. And then the Inner Circle finished the promo off by flipping the birds.
Classic.
Yeah. Again with the we're swearing all the time on Dynamite, which is, whatever. Like, feels like maybe we're at a 10 and we need to bring it back to like an 8 or something to make it be effective. But I just keep commenting on that. Maybe I'm being a prude about it. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I thought the promo was really good, man. Jericho is just on a different level. With you watch MJF do that promo a couple weeks ago and you're like, wow, this is really great. But then you watch Jericho do this and you're like, okay, he really might be the GOAT. Like these promos are like, he's really bringing it. I think that my jerk off friend thing, I'm surprised you guys didn't pick that up. That's
feel
all
so
I could think
silly
about.
now.
And I was like, man, this might be too good. This might stick with MJF like after this feud, like for a while.
They're probably hoping for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mean, it really
MJF probably is hoping for that too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, and he can flip it into. They probably already talked about like, oh, how can I use it?
Yeah.
But yeah, this was awesome and told the whole story. Like, love that Jericho was like, yeah, we might get our asses kicked, but we don't care. Like, we're in for a fight. So awesome.
Yeah, this was great. This is exactly why they pay Jericho however much like money they're paying. This is exactly why. Like, again, like he's old and maybe I can't go in the ring as much as anymore, but he cut this like very passionate promo, and not even just on MJF, but even on the other guys. Like, again, like it's not only about like it is about Jericho and MJF, but it's also about elevating the other guys who are a part of this as well. And Jericho does that very well. Like, I cracked up when he's making fun of FTR, my favorite tag team, calling him like Axe and Smash and Axel and like Slash or whatever, and he just like called them the Jonas Brothers. I'm like, that's hilarious. Made fun of Sean Spears, the stupid blonde mohawk or whatever, and then like even made fun of their manager, saying that like that guy was like the third string on the Four Horsemen. I'm like, he just ropes everyone together, and Wardlow cuts like a joke with him being a body guy or whatever. I just thought this was
he screwed
like,
up.
great.
He screwed up
though. Yeah.
And
I thought he was being sarcastic
it didn't even
on
matter.
that. I thought he messed up, but then I thought he was being sarcastic, as in like, oh yeah, this guy's a genius, right? As in like everyone knows he's like a body guy. When usually when you're a body guy, you're not the smartest guy. I thought he was being sarcastic, but he might have messed up on it. Either way,
it's like
if he messed up, it's fine. It gets to a point where like he's like kind of like on the roll of like he's so passionate about this, as in like, yeah, you fumble your words and you just like you don't stop and like pick up the ball. You just keep going with it.
Yes. That's what I was gonna say. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree. To an extent, I thought there was really great intensity. I thought some of this was a little rambling and a little weird. The high school stuff. I didn't think the My Jerk Off Friend was that funny personally, but you're right. Now that I think about it, it is going to kind of become a thing. Also, he said there was like skid marks on that toilet, which we saw the toilet was pretty clean. There wasn't. So that's just like
Yeah, that was weird. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Oh, you guys are
It
being
would have been a clever
way,
line.
way too
No.
analytical on
It
that.
would have been a clever line if there was actual, and they could have done that, dude. They could have just
No
like
one's
artificially-
analyzing the toilet. What are you guys saying?
Dude, if you're a baby face, you got to be
You gotta be on point. You gotta be truthful. It gets to the
I
point
thought it
of
was a
like
really-
it made sense of what he was saying. It just showed that like he just wanted just to like make fun of him, all the other Pinnacle members, and just get through it.
I thought it was a good promo. I didn't think it was that great, though, to be honest. But I thought it had good intensity. I'm definitely looking forward to Blood and Guts. My question is, this is the beginning of this feud. That seems like the culmination of a feud. Is this too early for the Blood and Guts match?
I did think about that, but I actually kind of liked how he roped in his promo how they passionately hate each other already. So like we've kind of dealt with been slow builds for a while in AEW, which we appreciate, but at the same time, if you constantly get these slow builds, it does get stale as in like, oh, okay, we got to go through like 2 months of this until we get something that we really want. I actually love that, like, and it was in Jericho's promo. He said, like, all right, why are we gonna play slap ass? Like, and I like even then he mentioned saying, yeah, we wanted this match last year, but then the pandemic happened and everything. And then he's like, you know what, we're just gonna do it now. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool and something out of left field they haven't done before.
Mm-hmm.
I will say too, I think it's this is just my prediction. I think Pinnacle is definitely going to win that match, but that's not going to be the culmination of the feud. It's going to keep on going because they gotta keep this thing going for quite a while because they've got a lot of fun matchups, a lot of good stuff between them, and it's only been like 3 or 4 weeks, but it's been great so far.
Totally.
Yeah. Agreed.
So then we had Christian backstage being interviewed. He said last week Frankie pushed him into the deep water and he loved every minute of it. Christian makes other wrestlers level up. Taz came in, interrupted, and offered him a spot in Team Taz. Christian kind of seemed like he was going to turn him down, but Taz told him to sleep on it.
Like, I was excited for Christian Cage coming in, and then like kind of these promos, this whole like kind of I outwork everyone. Kind of, it's a little boring to me, and I'm sure to other people. He could cut promos though. Like this was still a good promo. I think the promo was like he did well. It was just the subject that he was dealt with was just boring. As in like, yeah, I make everyone better. Yeah, I outwork everyone. Yeah, I do this great. I do this great. I'm like, yeah, we know that. So like, I guess this was kind of showing that like last week he showed he could go in the ring. This week he's showing that he could go on the mic. And then of course another interruption. I'm like, yeah, this is annoying now. And then I guess this laid the foundation for feuds for Christian Cage against like a Team Taz member or something like that. I mean, like Christian Cage has to do something. I kind of now am confused why he kind of grabbed the world title first go. Like I think they could have just done away with that. So this makes more sense that Christian Cage is going against through some of these guys and then gets to that. But all in all, he cut a good promo. This the subject of it to me was a little boring.
I'll just hop in and say,
do.
like, oh, sorry. I think I don't mind him grabbing the world title because at the end of the day, that's his end goal. And you know what?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's you grab the thing and it hints like, oh, this is going to be the next program, but it doesn't hurt to have someone like take the thing and look at it because we will eventually get to Christian having a title shot in some capacity. I thought the promo was fine. It didn't thrill me. Clearly, it's going to be a Team Taz program where he versus Ricky Starks or someone,
which is exciting.
Which is fine. It's very obvious that he's going to turn him down. That's fine.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that they're going to be doing something with Team Taz and that it makes sense with Taz being like, come on, we go back. Like, we know each other. You can teach my young guys. I've been putting fires out every week. I mean, that was more compelling than all the Team Taz promos that have been going on and getting. So for that reason, fine. Like, and that's a good vehicle for Christian, I guess, right now to come in. But yeah, it was okay. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. So then Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy defeated Bear Country in with Godzilla versus King Kong.
No, Sharp. the Kong, Godzilla versus Kong.
Did they specifically just say that?
Yeah, JBR messed it up, and then he kept saying Kong. I mean Godzilla versus Kong. You know I love Kong. Oh my gosh. Y'all didn't realize that?
No,
I didn't
Oh my
really
God.
put a lot of faith in JR of getting the
JR,
movie title right. I was just kind of already filtering him out as in like I know he's just gonna like just scream the movie about 10,000 times, so we'll see.
Yeah, so JR he said the Godzilla versus King Kong match, and then someone must have punched him, and he said, I mean Godzilla versus Kong, Godzilla versus Kong.
Wait,
it's my favorite match.
That. Like, was the movie just called Godzilla versus Kong?
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, I also didn't know. And by the way, we talked about this last week. We've all been texting about it all week, and none of us knew that it wasn't that.
It's not that big of a deal.
What's
King Kong
versus King Kong?
It's probably trademarked by different people
because there's the older movie coming out, the older movie that was on all that stuff.
But anyway, sorry to interrupt you, but JR was it was so funny how he tried to retcon it.
All right. So Luchasaurus hit a choke slam and a standing moonsault. Jim Ross called it bowling shoe ugly, and I'd agree with that. a ton of botches, way too choreographed. It was kind of fun, and I was pretty high on Bear Country coming into the match, but I'm less high on them now. But I'm least high on Luchasaurus. He really just looked like shit during this match.
This was clunky.
And I just real quick, I will say the Bear Country, the highlight of the match for me is the picking the guy up on the back and doing the running cannonball move with two guys. That looked cool. But this was just, it still was kind of fun, but it was a mess.
The movie was way better than this match. We'll say that. I mean, I like
sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Nah, it was like I kind of had nothing to it, as in like it was really like sloppy. I was just a little more upset with that. I like the corporate synergy with Warner Media promoting the movie, but this is kind of what AEW kind of gets at fault, where they're just like, yeah, like we let everyone, like the wrestlers do everything, like okay, but this seemed like the casualties that you would have when you allow this to happen. It just seems like okay, no one was on the same page. They were just trying to get all their moves in, and I'm like, this is not meshing well at all.
Yeah, and everything else said. The best thing about this match was like the synergy, which is not saying that's not a good
thing. I know. If the best part of the match is the promotion, then there's a problem.
Yeah, I was excited to see it, and I really like Jurassic Express, but you're right, Luchasaurus this is a really poor showing from him in particular, but from really everybody in the match was not very good.
All right, so then we had a QT Marshall vignette. It accused Cody of taking credit for QT's accomplishments at their training center. He ran down Cody's WWE career, then he touted up his crew of Solo, Camarado, and Ogogo. Ogogo briefly cut a promo about him being famous in England. Then Camarado threw some paint on the Nightmare Family logo on the wall.
Yeah. So after the whole betrayal last week, I thought, let's give this a little bit of time and maybe it's going to be interesting. I thought some of this was okay. They tried to give them different personalities and highlight the people that were taking over. It really kind of fell short though. And then this is a little thing, but it meant a lot to me. When they threw the paint on the logo, it didn't really go on the logo. And this is a remote. Like this is a pre-tape. Do it again. That was like, and the other thing is we know that's like paint you can just wash off or whatever. It's not paint, whatever it is.
It's not like, ruining the gym.
Do it again, and if it looks bad, like do something else. That to me maybe encapsulated the whole bit, where it was like, okay, this didn't really work, but this is what we're going with. It didn't really work.
Hey, we didn't really hit the logo that much. You think we should do it again?
No, it's good.
No, we don't
It's
have time
fine.
for that. Cool. This sucked. I don't even know what to say. I honestly was watching this and I was not a fan going into it, and then it was like worse for me than like going out of it. Like, yeah, I agree with everything that Quag said. I actually cracked up with the paint splatter. I'm like, honestly, the paint splatter just like, I'm like, you know what? This makes sense. I was like, this is a crappy promo to me. And then as soon as he's about to splatter the paint, I'm like thinking, like, you know what? It's gonna mess up. It's just the cherry on top. And also, I think I agree with everything Quag said. And there was another thing where I actually like that boxing guy, the Anthony Ogogo. I'm like, oh, okay, like he seems like the most like star out of like if I had to pick one. But then like he's like, yeah, like shitty America and like you guys are like ugly Yanks. And then I'm like, this
What
guy
does that have
like,
to do with anything?
and I'm like, this is nothing. And you got QT, that fucking the two other guys or whatever. I'm like, they're from America. Like it makes no sense. You just made fun of them. It was just like,
Yeah.
it's like, I know you get that cheap foreign heat or whatever, but that was just piss poor. I'm like, this is stupid. It sucked. That's all I can
that
say.
exotic country of England where
Yeah.
cheap heat is so easy.
I mean, I just like laughed. He was the last one to say, like, I was just like, this is the biggest star in the group. And then the paint splatter misses the logo. I'm like, forget this. This is stupid.
So I actually thought this was okay. I thought it was, for what this is, I thought it was solid enough. I actually think Nick Camarado could be like a legit like entity within AEW. He looks good. Like
He's a
that,
big
kind of
dude.
like unique, like caveman look. Look.
Yeah, I was gonna say his Harry is all get out. Like, yeah.
He does stand out, which like that's what you want to do. You need to stand out. You can't be like, there's plenty of body guys, but if you stand out, then like that's when you could kind of flourish.
Yeah. So I didn't think this sucked. I thought it was fine. I thought the promo was fine. I don't always like them drawing attention to WWE stuff in the past, saying Cody was like a loser in WWE. So then it's just like, oh, well, if he was a loser there and he looks like so great here, then it's almost like maybe that was there's better people in there.
Then what was good about this, Eric? We know what's bad about it, but you're saying it's pretty good. I'm shocked to hear.
I thought he actually like the actual verbal skills were more competent than he was on the mic.
What do you mean? Like, and also, I know I shit on him a lot, but like this would mean more if like Cody like doesn't like get double crossed every like 5 months or whatever.
That's
like
a problem too. Yeah.
If this was the first time, okay, this would make way more sense. But QT's like, yeah, I'm tired of being on your way. We heard that shit before. We did. What was good about this?
Look, I
just want to know.
I'm not interested in this angle, but for what they're given, I think it was fine. For what I think QT Marshall's talent level is, I think it was
so that's fine. How we're gonna judge something's good, because if the talent level is just
all right,
very low.
No, you're right. It's not that good, but
boy,
yeah, close up on Aaron Solo's face, that made it amazing.
The camera was framed correctly.
No, yeah, the camera work was amazing. We saw the paint splatter completely miss that logo.
AEW puts out a bad show and we all start fighting with each other. This is
why they need to put good shows.
I gave this a thumbs in the middle. All right. So then we had Tony Schiavone's interview with Sting, and it was quickly interrupted by Jake the Snake. Jake mocked Sting, saying, "You don't get the formula. We come in and interrupt. You do nothing." Jake said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Lance came out, kind of snagged the mic from him disrespectfully. Cut the same promo he's been saying over and over. He said it's his time. He won't be ignored any longer. Sting snagged the mic from him. He actually agreed with Archer, said he thinks he's main event material. Sting yelled at Jake to help him. Stop talking about it and go do it. And then they kind of showed Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky looking on as Sting left.
Yeah, I got nothing more to this after that factory promo got to this. And then I'm like, of course. I'm like, why don't we just keep rolling with the punches? Like, I couldn't get enough of Tony Schiavone interviewing Sting. I will say, though, I did like Sting just like saying that, like, you know what, just go do it then. As in, like, you know what, just put up or shut up at this point. I do like that statement, but this is like repetitive, and this is like kind of like stupid to me.
Yeah, what was this? That was my thought. I was just watching. What was the point of doing that? Sting saying, "Yeah, I believe in you," and then the Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky watching, like, "Can you believe this?" I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't understand."
I don't know what
Yeah,
I don't even know what to think.
this is somehow worse than the interruptions before because they acted like it was going somewhere, but it's not. Like, where's this going? Sting is endorsing Lance Archer. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I actually didn't mind that part. I just thought this was the same promo, same interruption. Jake the Snake used to be such a great promo, and he hasn't really been very good. And then Lance came in. Dude, that's the same exact promo he cut when he was in like the bombed out building or whatever it looked like, the crappy looking building. It was the same exact promo about like, I'm being held down. It's my time. I'll take it if I can. And the fact that Sting was just like, dude, I actually agree that you're like pretty good. I didn't mind because I'm like, at least sometimes like for a face to just say that and then kind of say put up or shut up. I think we're going to get Lance attacking him. But this was so status quo. Nothing changed. Like, we've heard these same promo type things before, other than Sting saying you're talented. Big deal. We don't need a whole 5-minute segment for that.
Exactly.
And we don't need, and we've said this before, I actually was pumped when they brought Sting in. Dude, have Sting on like once a month.
I don't get what, especially when there's barely any fans there. Like, you're not sad.
They think Sting brings viewers in, which it's clearly not. It did for the first show, but it's not. So just use him, use the mystique. Now they're just using him every week, and it's just another guy. It's an old guy dressed in makeup at this point, rather than this like weird, bizarre entity. This stunk. This was so bad. I was gonna make a joke that like I thought this was great to see what you guys would do.
Oh my god! If you said this was great, I would probably just like threw my.
I couldn't even like.
Top.
Yeah,
like, why?
All right. So then after this, we had Team Taz hanging out backstage. Ricky Stark said he wanted to hear from Cage again. Taz said, "Stop instigating them. They want to recruit a blue chipper like Christian, and they have to be smart." Don't know why this was here. Blah.
This is just random now.
I think that in Tony Khan or whoever's mind, someone is going to be going back and watching all these clips on YouTube, and he's like, it doesn't matter that it's a minute on TV and it interrupts the show right now. Eventually, it'll be a great story, and someone will watch all of it together.
Yes,
like
that's the way his mind works. Like everyone said, like he remembers everything, but you got to think of someone who has the.
Well, or I mean, not to. Or like us, like watches the show every week, and then every time we see this, we're like, oh, this again, right? Yeah. Like the same thing with the Sting promo, right? If you watch it back and it's like, oh, he's interrupted again, like maybe that's sort of interesting, but not when you're watching it every week. And now, like, if you're going to do that, do it with one segment, not multiple segments that do this. Yeah.
Yes. And it also has to be like enjoyable. Like, I get like the first Sting interview was great. Like, oh, I just love seeing Sting back, but like that wears off. If you're gonna have a continued segment, you have to have like some sort of substance that people actually enjoy, that like, oh, okay, I'm excited for what's next. You can't hang on to, oh, it's Sting again, as in like we just said, like you just keep seeing him over and over again. You're not excited to see him because like, oh, I just saw him last week, compared to I didn't see him for 2 years.
All right, so we had Darby Allin defeating JD Drake in about 9 minutes with a coffin drop. After the match, Bush and the Blade attacked Darby. They were chased off by Sting and the Dark Order after all of Matt Hardy's, I don't even know what they're called, came out. And they
Hardy Family Office.
Hardy
HFO,
Family Office,
which I am upset that I know.
They left Bunny behind though, and Ty Conti kind of attacked her.
Match was all right. I think, a little bit too much of Darby getting beat up again, but at least he ended strong this time. And I will say I was ready to give this critique. And then at the end, when he was like laying on top of JD Drake, I was like, wow, JD Drake is huge and Darby is little. So it made a little bit more sense to me. I do wonder what the means or like what the purpose is to have Darby always get almost beat. And it's clearly written into like what the announcers are saying and what everyone is told, like, oh my gosh, he barely survived again, like he did it again. So it doesn't seem like a great look for your champ who is supposed to be the face of the network or whatever. Like maybe he's just a perpetual underdog. But yeah, I mean, like this was a little bit better than some of the other times. And he did, hit the code red and then the avalanche and then the coffin drop. But I don't know, too long. And then the Hardy family office, I'm over. I did like the way that they set up Bunny to be separated. And then like the Dark Order kind of stood around Ty Conti. And then she like ran in and started beating her up. But then I thought it was weird that they didn't go into that match. That match was then like 2 hours later.
Yeah, I thought that was, yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
No, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, I thought Drake was impressive, but like you said, Quavis, it should not have gone 9 minutes. Every once in a while, I get that Darby against a real bigger opponent, which Drake is, but he's kind of just like a 6'1" fat guy. Like
he's a guy. He's a guy
who's 2 and 3.
And he's that never was had not a match flattering. On Dynamite, and he's never had a match. No one's seen this guy. If you turn the show on and you're a casual fan, like this is your champion, this tiny guy, and he's versus this fat schlub, and he can barely beat him. What are you gonna think? I like that he went with the coffin drop. I agree that the attack was a little weird after, especially because I don't know if you guys noticed, but Sting kind of was like chasing him, and then Butcher and Blade, especially Butcher, just kind of like
oh my gosh, dude! I wrote this down of how terrible this was. This was like kind of like the epitome of the show. And like Quacks, I agree with you that it was great that they separated Bunny out with like the Dark Order and stuff, but they messed up so badly, and I hate this when Sting was like like chasing him out and Butcher kind of missed his cue and he like just shoved Sting out of the way trying to run. I was like, oh, this just kind of wrapped up the show for me.
Past him. Like if you were Butcher, wouldn't you just like smash him in the head from behind or something?
It was just like it's like the
oh man,
gosh,
I'm glad I missed that.
Stuff. That's the type of shit that WWE would never mess up. They don't let stuff like that happen.
I will admit, though,
gotta tighten up the production.
Dude, there's a hilarious, like I seen, like I'm sure we all have seen so many Botchamania videos. What always cracks me up, and Eric, this will remind this particular botch reminded me of this, is when like it was like way back when like Nexus was a thing and the WWE superstars were chasing him, and there's this classic one of Mark Henry chasing him, but there's like 3 Nexus guys behind him and they just outrun him.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Oh, you gotta watch. It's hilarious. Because like Mark Henry just didn't know, like, oh, I didn't know you guys were behind me. Now I look like an idiot chasing, like you're chasing me. And that's what reminded me exactly when I see Butcher like is running and like, oh, Sting's in front of me. Like he's supposed to prevent me from like getting out of here or whatever.
Yeah.
This
also, how about
wrapped up the show to me, as in like this is what the show is like kind of looking towards.
Speaking of Sting and chasing people out with the bat, Ryan Nemeth, whose brother is Dolph Ziggler, and their gimmick is just the exact same. Like
they're interchangeable.
It's so weird. All right, sorry.
All right, so then Marvez was interviewing Jericho backstage, but he pretty much did not get a word in before he was ambushed by the Pinnacle. They beat him down all the way into the ring. MJF choked him out with the scarf. FTR did the double spike pile driver on him. Backstage, we saw that the rest of the Inner Circle was locked in a room, were attempting to bust through it with a bat. Before Wardlow could powerbomb Jericho through a table, Mike Tyson came out. Spears, for whatever reason, just had like a one-on-one with him. The rest of the crew dipped out, and Tyson beat down Spears. And before the rest of the Inner Circle could help, before the rest of Pinnacle could come and help, Inner Circle came in, chased them off. Jericho and Tyson hugged, and the two factions just kind of jaw-jacked. What'd you think, Chris?
Oh, I thought this was good. I was kind of confused when they were like hyping up Tyson to come back. And then in my head, I'm like, well, Jericho's a babyface now.
Me too.
And,
Yeah. I
and
was
then they
thinking
were
the
just
same
making this
thing.
a big deal. And then so as soon as we heard it's like Mike Tyson coming out, I'm like, oh, okay, they're just gonna bury the hatchet now. I mean, Tyson's crazy, so this kind of made sense. And I like that they showed that like Inner Circle was locked up, and I liked how Pinnacle attacked him and like was vicious and attacking him. So
Mhm.
it didn't make him look like chumps, as in like they just got kicked out of the locker room. They try to steal, and then they just got made fun of by Jericho. So I'm like, okay, this makes sense. So this is like probably the feud that I like most about the show. So I'm glad it's continuing on. And like when Tyson came in, yeah, it was kind of weird that like just Spears was like kind of the sacrificial lamb, but we kind of knew that with Spears going in. And you got to make Tyson look good. He's like just an oddball, but he's like in the like funniest way. So I was glad that like he kind of got his like celebrity like fight in. And man, I was glad that they like Jericho and Tyson like kind of shook hands as in like, hey, we feuded and now like we're friends.
I thought that Spears maybe just got stuck in the ring and Tyson didn't know necessarily what to do, and so started just giving him work punches and like work with maybe some heavy quotation marks around it. And then that got me thinking, like, man, I would not even want to take a work punch from Mike Tyson. Like, I feel like he might slip one up and get you pretty good.
Yeah.
I like this. My first reaction was, where the heck is the Inner Circle? And then they cut right when I was like, this is ridiculous. They cut right to the whole bolted door thing. Okay, like I can buy that. So I like this segment quite a bit. And I think that the idea that Jericho and Tyson could bury the hatchet is totally believable. So yeah. And man, I texted y'all this when I saw it, but Mike Tyson looks so good. That dude is like 60. How does he look that good? It's crazy.
Smokes a shit ton of weed. He just smokes and trains and stuff. I really like this too. I thought it was very well laid out. I thought the beatdown of Jericho looked brutal before Tyson came in. Here's the thing. I would have just had Tyson. I agree. The work punches looked very worked. I would have had Sean Spears like talk crap to him. Tyson lands one punch to his face, then have the rest of the group ambush him, and then have the rest of Inner Circle come and save Tyson. I don't know. I think they could have like done it a little better, but I just don't get like when Tyson comes in. I know like when a badass type of person comes, the heel scurry, but there's like 6 of you guys.
That's where I'm like, I don't know how much he can do or they want him to do without him like accidentally knocking someone out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I did think it was good. I was a little worried that when he was starting to rip off his shirt, it wasn't coming off like last time.
Oh man. They just wanted to show him that he's just some like just crazy SOB. They like he was and stuff like that. I think that's what their goal was
and
to
he's
do.
A wildly likable guy too. So
yeah.
You know.
At the end when he thought they had cut away, he just started smiling, and like the whole rest of the Inner Circle is like still mean mugging, and Tyson is just there like.
Just
had a problem with that in the past where he just like really likes wrestling and
just a kid in a candy shop. That's what he's doing. He's just like, I'm just excited to be here. Like this is fun to me. And everyone's like, well, you gotta pretend that you're pissed off at them.
Yeah. He's like, wow, we're doing it. Yeah. I don't.
All right. So then Britt Baker had a vignette backstage, told Tony Khan to give her a title shot already. When Shivani said she was ranked number 4, Britt said wins and losses shouldn't matter. Star power should, which she has. She said she'd fix this broken system, rack up wins on Elevation, Dark, and Dynamite. I just have good promo per usual.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I just have great. And by the way, when this comes back live, the DMD pointing thing, that's going to be a thing. Everybody's going to do that.
Have never been so cool.
Yeah.
All right. So then we had Ty Conti defeating the Bunny, 9 minutes with the DD tie, is it called?
Yes.
That's just a brutal name.
You said it with the complexion correctly.
DD tie!
With the complexion, the inflection.
The inflection, my bad. Complexion.
What'd you think, Quags? How'd you like it?
Yeah, it was good. So this is another one where I started to think like, why is Matt Hardy involved in all this stuff? And I was like, there must be some test they have where it says that people care more when Matt Hardy is involved. Because I think even last week, didn't we say just have these women wrestle each other? And it was a solid match. Bunny is, as far as a wrestler, I wasn't have to say like paying as close attention to her skill or haven't seen enough Bunny matches to really say like, oh, she's a good performer or not. Like I think she's fine, but her character is really good. Like the way she looks into the camera and the way she like does like the head thing. She knows what she's doing for sure. I think Ty Conti is really good. This DD Ty aside, with all her mixed martial arts training of various pedigrees, like that's cool. At least as a story, she's entertaining. This is a good, entertaining thing to me. Don't understand why Hardy is involved. Like I mean, like I literally understand in storyline, like, oh, Butcher, Blade, and Bunny are assigned to him, but so that was preoccupying me. But I actually do feel like they are now building the women's division where I can name probably like 5 or 6 of the wrestlers that they have in there that I care about, that I could then tell you like 2 facts about beyond just, oh, they are an AEW women's wrestler. So that's a big positive to me.
Yeah, I agree with you, Quags. I was actually happy that you said Bunny is showing more character and like knows what she's doing. I completely agree. I actually was like writing notes on that. I was like, she really knows how to kind of influentiate like her character. They still need to refine their in-ring work, but I'm happy about that. And I would like to see those test results of Matt Hardy. Viewerships go through the roof. I just need to see those just to kind of validate of like, why is he there so often? But is what it is. I enjoy the match. DD Ty is a brutal name. I was watching Dark one time. If you guys thought that was brutal, I remember when the announcer said DD Ty, Conti to 3, and I'm like, okay, we're turning this off. That was brutal. I did crack up one point in the match, was just like, I think it was either Bunny or Ty attacked like an outside member in just one punch. And then it was like Stu Grayson, and then just ensued a giant brawl just after just one punch. I'm like, okay, he just goes ballistic. But it was all right match.
I actually thought the match was really good. I've been a fan of Bunny for a while. She was in Impact for a long time as Allie, and she was great. And the whole time she was in AEW, I was like, why are they only using her as a manager when the women's division is clearly in need of good wrestlers? Mm-hmm. Look, she's not Charlotte or Sasha Banks, but she's solid. And I don't know if you noticed in this match, she really laid her shots, her like kicks, her punches, her forearms looked really good in this match compared to a lot of the other women wrestlers.
I want to say, like, I wasn't saying she was bad. I feel like I didn't really have any understanding.
No, and I think her character is good too. She's good at being like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I like the use of Sheeta too, helping her.
Yeah.
She got decked, so it's only fair that she returns the favor, pulls the kendo stick out of her hands.
Well, and that builds Sheeta's character, who has been like, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you, but I feel like is kind of like the champion. Okay, like.
No, she doesn't have a character. Yeah.
Right.
We don't know anything about her.
Right.
But with the Matt Hardy stuff, I agree that there might be a little too much Matt Hardy, but this is his managed wrestler. I don't know why he wouldn't be there.
No, I just mean, why is it even, like, I'm even going back farther than that, I guess. But
he's
on
right. The show multiple times.
At this point.
Yeah.
Like,
and everyone comes out. They come out to the Hardy family office thing. That's
all good and fine. It's just that I've seen Matt Hardy in the span of a 2-hour show. If I see him 3 times, I'm definitely questioning what the decision making is.
Next week he's wrestling for the TNT title. Like, maybe finally that can be Darby Squash.
No, definitely not gonna be.
Definitely not gonna
yeah,
be.
Right. Definitely not gonna be.
Falls Count Anywhere. It'll be a good main event match. It's just that better be the only spot I see Matt Hardy in. I don't mind like when he's in the matches and good matches. I don't mind that. It's just like I'm seeing him like so many times. It makes no sense to me.
All right, so then we had Red Velvet vignette about her upcoming match with Jade Cargill. She said Jade's afraid of her because last time she barely got the job done.
No, makes no sense. If Red Velvet wins over Jade, that would be the worst decision in company history. And that's all I have to say.
It's so nice of them to let Red Velvet have a promo.
See, I think they should give her a promo just because if you give one, it doesn't make sense that you would give one wrestler a vignette and another. But the thing
It
is,
does make sense when it's Jade and Red Velvet. If I'm picking
think
which
about
one.
this on like a boxing match where like you're just scared because last time you versed me, you beat me via decision and you didn't knock me out. It's like you still like lost.
That's why I was just like so confused. She's like, you didn't get the job done. I'm like, yeah, she did. She didn't really like whatever.
When I was thinking about the women's division a second ago, I wasn't even thinking about Jade, who's about to like beast in here. Oh, so exciting.
All right, so the main event time, we had Omega and the Good Brothers beating John Moxley and the Young Bucks about 15 minutes. Matt Jackson was repeatedly reluctant when it came to attacking Kenny. And when it finally came time to put him away with the BTE trigger, he couldn't do it. Moxley angrily tagged himself in and destroyed Omega with a couple paradigm shifts. But when he went for the third, the Bucks couldn't take it anymore, and they super kicked Moxley. Kingston ran down to the ring, but the Good Brothers hit him with a magic killer. Then they hit Moxley with the magic killer. Bucks allowed Kenny to get the pin. After the match, Bucks still seemed kind of conflicted, but when the Good Brothers picked up Moxley, Bucks obliged, hit him with a super kick. Omega tossed up a 2-sweep, but the Bucks instigated a group hug instead. All right. So as billed, this match wasn't as good as it you would think, but this was more about story than the actual match. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to get this out of the way. Callis is a fantastic heel announcer, which this goes back to his New Japan days because he actively puts over all the wrestlers. Even when he's talking crap about the face wrestlers, he still puts them like they're still good.
Yeah.
He's not like, why is this person even in this company? He's very good at what he does.
Yes.
This was okay, but with all the shades of gray with the Bucks, they've never had like an established character in this company. They got back and forth. They were randomly super kicking people at one time before their feud with FTR. They're good, they're bad, they're conflicted. This quote unquote turn doesn't mean that much because they haven't been good guys this whole time. So while it was okay, and I'm glad that this is the landing point because I think the Bucks are best as annoying, like pesky heels. I think that's like that you just want to see get their ass kicked, even though they have an incredible moveset. I still think that's how I see them. I just think this wasn't that great because they've just been so in between this whole time. So it wasn't really that big a thing to see them turn. What do you think, Quags?
Yeah, I thought the match was good. I was increasingly confused about what was going on when they wouldn't take Kenny out. Agree that the Don Callis stuff was so awesome. That was probably the best part of all of it. And then when it became clear what was happening and the other announcers were like, did you know this was going to happen? He was like, I can't tell you yes or no. I was pretty surprised still to see, just because of maybe like the last few weeks, gave me the impression that the Bucks were against Kenny. So I don't know in kayfabe, what happened in the last week where they were like, okay, we will back our guy, like we will go with him. If it was a combination of, physically beating him up, so am I crazy? The Bucks faced Hangman and Kenny for the tag team titles, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so when they were like, you never thought you would see Matt Jackson holding up Kenny like in this way or whatever it was, and I was like, well, I know they just did this. Like, I know that was in a different context, but that was a little bit weird, but that's fine. Like, that kind of thing happens all the time. Yeah, overall, right. I was kind of hoping for a banger of a match. The match was pretty good, but obviously it was more about story than anything else. And I was surprised. I'm interested to see what happens here. Like, where is it? Where is it going? And does Kenny hate John Moxley that much that he was masterminding this whole thing where he was going to pretend like the Bucks were on John Moxley's side for a while, but really they weren't, or were the Bucks really tweeners? Like, and goodness gracious, will we get a promo from the Bucks where they explain this? Like, I doubt we'll get that kind of action. So I don't know. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, no, I agree, Quags. This was like kind of weird for me. Like, I agree with you in a sense of like, I actually like thought about the same thing when like Matt Jackson couldn't super kick Omega or they couldn't hit their BT trigger. And I thought the same thing. I'm like, they versed Hangman and Omega, and like that was like one of the best matches like ever in their company history. And I'm like, they tore the house down and threw everything at each other. And now now you can't kick him in the face. I'm like, you kicked him in the face like 10 times. Like, I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah, is
I
it
just,
like, oh, it's a different context, and so like we're
yeah.
not just doing this
Yeah.
for glory? Like, I
Well, wait,
guess.
real quick. Let me just step in and say, I didn't even realize. I guess I wasn't paying attention that they said like, did you know this was going to happen at Callis? Because if this was a pre-planned thing, which I don't think it was, I just think in the
Yeah.
moment they couldn't pull the trigger, which I hope that's what they're going to go with. Because if this was some sort of pre-planned thing, that makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, I
That
thought
they
this
would
was
that they
too.
wouldn't just beat the shit out of Moxley right when the bell rings.
Yeah, like this was too slow for
Well,
me.
Kalis never said. He never
Okay.
said like, yeah,
Yeah,
I
that might have been
knew.
like a misprint of
It's
like,
all the plan. Or if he did say
Yeah,
anything like that,
yeah.
it was very how he says it, where like he, is always. I mean,
Taken
this
with a
is
grain
how
of salt. Yeah.
but
right
like,
speaks to how great of a heel he is. Like he's always
yeah,
plotting and
he's like,
making it
oh
seem
yeah,
like
we did
anything.
thought about this when like he's
Yeah.
probably like talking
Yeah.
shit.
Okay.
But this was still slow at the end. Like I was thinking, like, wouldn't it just be more satisfying if like Moxley gets like a hot tag and then they just super kick him in the face and then like they're smiling as in like, yeah, like this is what we wanted. Instead, we got
But
like,
no, that wouldn't make sense though.
I know it wouldn't, but like this whole slow thing, like okay, we decided mid-match to attack Moxley, like okay, and then like instead of two sweeting, like no, let's hug. I'm like, it just seems slow for me. I was like, let's hug instead. I was like, what? And then like I don't know. Like I guess I need to see it to see like what the result is going to be. I just thought this was kind of just weird.
I know what you guys mean for sure. I'll just real quick say that I saw like the Golden Lovers, which is Ibushi and
Yes.
Kenny versus the Young Bucks in like a New Japan thing out here in LA. And they did kind of a similar thing where they both of them kind of had trouble really hitting them with like a devastating move because like it was almost like they didn't want to hurt him to the effect that Kenny had Matt Jackson, I think, in the One-Winged Angel, and he was gonna do it, and then Kenny kind of let up, and then Matt Jackson like took Kenny's hand and put it on his head and was like,
Yeah, I
"I'm
saw that
done.
match.
Like you got to do it."
Yeah, it was
Which
phenomenal.
I get like why like the storytelling, like they haven't earned this story is the problem.
Right.
Like, and I know what you guys mean, and I do think the way it was done was a little clunky, where it's like, oh my god, just get to it already. But I don't hate the sentiment of like you don't like your friend, but then you kind of are like, it's still my friend. Like I remember, like I don't know.
This is so funny, Eric, because Sharp, it feels like you sound like Kenny when he was doing his emo promo, and you hated the emo promo, but you like to watch it physically play out.
The way you get that,
yeah, you gotta get to there.
Message across. Is
yeah,
me,
yeah.
At least.
No, I
but
mean like
totally
no,
know what you mean.
no, like I'm not hating because I feel like I liked the emo promo, but I'm not over on the actual match as much. Like,
Because like I have
Yeah,
no
it's like
problem talking
reversed.
shit with someone, but like when it actually comes time to beat the shit out of them, I would be like, I don't actually want to hurt this person.
Right. I don't know, like
But
what you said before about the Golden Lovers and the Young Bucks, like that was a phenomenal match, but that was like a good story to go along with it.
yeah,
This, you're right, that like has this story have like earned the right to like kind of go about like this storytelling type of way? I don't know. I
so
actually don't.
so all right, this is like I'm about to go galaxy brain at you guys. It seems a little bit like sometimes Dynamite can be matches that they feel like are pay-per-view matches,
Mhm.
which like are every TNT title match, for example. Why does Darby go so long with these people? Well, for some whatever reason, like we feel like we need to see Darby wrestle for X amount of time, struggle, and come back, right? That feels like any kind of like a pay-per-view match, like a marquee match. Like, and the same could be said for this main event, right? And then they have these like YouTube clips on they have like these really high concept stuff and this like very low like concept stuff that really you could watch a bunch of them and it could get the same thing across from you watch a bunch of them all together a month from now and like that tells a story.
Yes.
And maybe a TV show is more supposed to be that comes on, once a week for 2 hours, more middle stuff where it builds to one thing and you don't have the other thing, or like every once in a while you have like the lower stuff. And maybe that's some of what they're struggling to figure out. Like, what are we doing here?
Mhm.
they need to understand that the vast majority of the fans are not watching all the supplementary content.
Right.
That
Yeah.
absolutely 100% cannot do that. That is
Yeah.
just like, if they're thinking in that way, which I think you should have watched Being the Elite and AEW Dark. People aren't watching that shit. Okay, that's just like I mean, there are people, but that's your crazy wrestling fan base that's going to be there no matter what. Hit
Yeah.
casual fans with the thing they can understand, which I wrote something really quick down. I love New Japan and I love the Elite in New Japan. That was the Bullet Club. Nobody cares about the Elite that tunes into this as a casual fan. No one knows what connection these guys had in the past,
Mhm.
besides the announcer saying, yeah, these guys were buddies in the past and all this stuff. They've wrestled together. That helps a little bit, but we haven't seen it happen. So
Yeah.
don't think that like people are gonna want to delve into this and like really be emotionally invested in this type of situation.
Like, no, I agree. I completely agree, because that doesn't help just saying, oh yeah, they were buddies back in the day. Like I said this before in a couple podcasts and I'll say it again. Reward the viewers, reward me for watching Dark, Elevation, or what other crap. Don't punish me if I didn't watch it. Like, oh man, I watch the shows and I'll like fast forward or whatever, and then I'll catch things as in like, oh, I'm enjoying the show more because I watched this. But like, I shouldn't, like, in case if I missed it, like I should not enjoy the show less as in like, oh, I should have watched that YouTube Dark show from 2 weeks ago if I understood why they're like best friends. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it seems some of the stuff like, and some of it they get, like with Brett, for example, where she's like, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to win. That seems like
Yes.
expanded
100%.
universe. So it's like, go do your expanded universe stuff and then come back here and you're going to show up. And if I'm only watching once every 3 weeks or whatever, and I see, oh yeah, that woman, like she put on that great main event match, didn't she? Oh, and then she was talking about how she needs to get her wins up. Oh, here she is, like let's say in a couple weeks, challenging for the title because like she's the number one contender. You know, that's the kind of thing. But I feel like maybe that's the mentality. I don't know. Just a couple times during the show, I was like, it feels like they're planning like on two different levels, and not a
I
lot
don't
of
even
it
know if
is.
they're planning. I think they're kind of. This did not seem planned. It just seemed like a haphazard thing where they kind of were like doing stuff with the Young Bucks. They didn't know quite where to put them. Heel space. And they're like, screw it, let's have them like turn.
This whole show did not seem planned. Like not even just like Omega and the
Maybe
Young
they were
Bucks, but like they just
because they knew
probably
NXT.
yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe they thought this week which is goofy, like they thought that WWE is going to own this week.
They brought in
like,
Tyson though, so probably
Yeah, they
not.
brought in Tyson just so they don't get like, I guess mass. I don't know, but like this whole show, man, like it didn't make sense. A lot of things, a lot of people were out of place, botches everywhere. Kind of like we don't even know what to make of this main event. It just seemed like they had a casual good idea of like, hey, this is guys what we want. All right, guys, just make it happen. And then like it fell flat.
So let's real quick. I have one more thing. I want to bring it up near the end, but let's go to our Rockets real quick. Mine was nothing on this segment, and on the show really shined to me. There was some good stuff, but nothing really I loved. The Tyson segment was the most fun for me, so that's mine.
Jericho's promo for me. I really love that. To me, that was like, and I also felt like him and MJF actually probably do have a friendly rivalry where he was like, hey, you thought that Pinnacle promo was good? Wait till I see wait till you see what I do about it. And
yeah, that was good. I would say the Jericho's Inner Circle promo that was great, and he's just a pro, not only elevating him and these other guys, but elevating everyone else around.
Yeah,
I'll say real quick, just in my opinion, MJF 1, Jericho 0. I think MJF's promos are condensed quicker. You really thought? I think MJF's.
I think they're tied right now. I thought both promos are great. Makes me really excited for the feud, and it kind of made the Mike Tyson thing way better just because I cared a lot more now of like this whole feud, even though I cared about it a lot last week.
I already said like people were chanting "You suck it." MJF, that really bothered me during his promo that he just kept on promoing and kept on talking and didn't acknowledge it. If they were doing that to Jericho, he would have had a whole thing about like one of the first AEW promos where he was like, that was bad creative and it's over now. Like they were doing Jack Swagger.
Yeah,
the people. Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, real quick though. One thing about Jericho's promo, I loved him running down everyone. I forgot to bring this up. I did not like him saying that MJF goes and checks the dirt sheets and like looks at what people are.
That was good.
That's like inside baseball where it's like MJF. You could make
does
it seem
he
like
does he check?
Does
like, he actually check the dirt sheets?
I don't.
It was a little insidery. It was a little.
Yeah,
it was a
like
little,
I don't like when they peek back the curtain a little bit. I get that, but I also do like that he is young, and young guys tend to care about what the internet says, and when the old guys could really care less. I thought it made sense to an extent.
I get that though, but yeah, you could have done that by just saying like he asks everybody how he did, which he did say, and then he kept going.
But okay. So almost like I would almost like it more if he was checking Twitter to see, and like Jericho being like he pretends like he doesn't care, but he really is
the Twitter.
Upset.
Yeah.
But like if it's like him going to people backstage, I just instantly pictured him going to like Jake the Snake and like Tully Blanchard being like, "You think I cut a good promo?" Which I'm like, don't paint MJF as someone who's backstage like doing that. I don't know. I just
you mean like it broke his character?
Yeah.
I thought I meant more of like looking up on the internet and stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't like to hear. I didn't take it as that, but maybe I wouldn't be a big fan of that. As in like he's asking all these guys, but like you would just make fun of them.
Yeah, that's interesting. Sure.
Yeah,
he's a guy who never breaks character. Like
I just don't
outside
wrestling. Wrestling these days are just they're obsessed with breaking the fourth wall. I'm just like, just
not that.
I don't
not
like
that
it.
cool.
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to, right?
Live in your own universe. We like watching it.
Yeah, so let's say we're watching it. Like I don't need to know the guy behind the guy that I'm watching. I'm like, well, I'm watching the guy that I want to watch on TV, not to know the actor behind it or whatever.
All right, so Anvil of the Night. Mine was the Sting Archer promo segment.
Yeah, that's mine too. I don't want to say anything more about it.
You guys are crazy. It was the QT Factory promo. That was by far the worst thing I have watched in a while. The paint job just solidified. I'm like, this makes sense. It didn't quite hit.
Man.
Just seeing the close up of like Aaron Solo's face, and I'm like, okay, this guy's gonna be the next guy, and then like Oh man, I am not a fan of that group.
All right, so real quick, I'll just say this with the Young Bucks turn. This just came to me where, not came to me, but it's just like an issue that's plagued wrestling for a while. WWE has just done it for ages, where there's too many turns, too many swerves for the sake of swerves, and too many heels turning to faces and vice versa. There's no issue with John Cena was a face for what? And people wanted him to turn, but he was a face for like 12 years. That one actually probably should have turned. But there's no problem. For instance, like Jeff Hardy. Everybody loves Jeff Hardy. He can be a face for his whole fucking career. You don't need to turn for the sake of turning them. There's some characters that people love and who should stay faces. MJF should never be a face. And I don't think they're going to make him a face. There's so many characters on this show and in wrestling in general that go back, forth. And Quags, when you were talking about the Britt Baker thing, she's the one character where I'm like, okay, she should be a she should be a heel from here on out. She's one of the people on the show where you know what her character is. There's even with like the Death Triangle, they acted heelish in that promo, but they've been face-ish. But now they're gonna versus the Young Bucks. So who's the heel and the face in that matchup? It's just too many shades of gray and
too many blurred lines.
It's just more confusing to like the viewer. I think that's like a big problem. There's no issue with having someone that stays in their role for a long period of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it's just kind of like they definitely think in their heads, they're just like, no, you guys could like root for anyone. Like we're being like cool about it. I'm like, it's like
we're being so progressive.
Yeah, it's just like, come on. Like just like it's because it's annoying. It gets annoying as in like that's why I kind of got annoyed at the end, like the main event. I'm like, look, if you're gonna be bad guys, just be bad guys. Like I don't need you to pretend.
If the Young Bucks were portrayed as good guys this whole time, just like big, complete baby faces,
then they look stupid. Then they come off stupid.
Yeah.
I always think like you have to have the form to deconstruct it. So if you're not respecting the form, then when you deconstruct it and you make these choices, like it doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
It's like
it's honestly the best way
John Moxley, like he's a babyface, but like he's a guy that it's okay. It's blurred lines, as in like he's not going to be like your white meat babyface, as in like, yeah, guys, let's all high five, hold each other, and let's go. Like he's a guy who's like, hey, I don't give a shit about you, don't give a shit about me. Let's just go out and fight like that. Like he plays his good guy to a T. That is a cool tweener to me.
Stone Cold's the best babyface of all time. He never acted like that.
Yeah.
He never was kissing babies and whatnot. All right. So overall, what did you guys have it? Quags, would you rate it 1 out of 10?
I wanna go later.
Okay. Chris?
Honestly, this might be, I was not happy with this. Like I like the Inner Circle promo a lot. So like I was thinking about giving it a 5.5, honestly, but I'll give it a like 5.5 to 6. I
give it a 6 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say 5, but I wanted to hear what you guys are gonna say. Sometimes I feel like I could be like really hot or really cold. But yeah, I think I am gonna go with 5 because there was a couple good things, but overall, not very good. And also, like the pacing on this show was so different than last week. They didn't jump from thing to thing and show a bunch. And I think last week and like I don't know. I have to sort of figure it out. It was like watching a different show, which is okay. Like
slow, you're right. It was like a snail's pace slow where cutting to quick vignettes, 90 seconds. Oh, then we're in the ring. Then another vignette. Dude, rapid fire, we're in an ADD generation, and there's nothing wrong with having quick excerpts rather than hanging with someone for 4 minutes when you're like,
we praised that Darby video last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also last week there were no like absolute clunker matches in that with like the couple well, definitely the Godzilla versus Kong sponsored match.
The best
not
part
good.
about the match was the sponsor. And
Yeah,
that
the
just
best
says it all.
part about the match was the sponsor, I love Jurassic Express, man. But yeah, it was
Yeah,
bad.
it was unfortunate. I was
Hey,
kind
you
of
know what? We'll be back next week, and we'll bring it up from here.
Yeah. Next week's show looks good. I'm excited for it.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, boys.
All right.
It's been the AEW Dynamite Kicked Out at 2 review. See you boys next week, and girls, and whatever you identify as.
Later.